What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. How are we?
Jenny, did you see Mr. Clutch last night?
Oh.
That's what they call him, Mr. Clutch.
Is that what you call it?
Guess what? Another day, another case of Diet Mountain Dew goes to me.
What you with it for?
Because you bet me that the king would make half of his threes last night.
How many
He went
did he make?
3 for 9. You lost again. That's 10 cases you've lost to me just in 2 weeks. Way to go. I love Diet Mountain Dew.
What percentage is that?
Champions.
What is that?
Nectar of the gods.
What was that, 33%?
Yeah.
Shannon, I
Sorry.
tried to help you. I told you, don't take it. Just, lay off. It's been a tough couple weeks, but you took the bet. Either way, LeBron got it done. We will talk all things LeBron and the GOAT. And, of course, the other GOAT had a pretty good day. We'll get to that. But we'll start with Shannon's GOAT. It took overtime for the third straight game for the Lakers to pull out a win after a late three by LeBron to force the extra period. LeBron finished with 25 points, but was only 3 of 9 from deep, and he ended up playing over 40 minutes for the third game in a row. This is the first time in 4 years LeBron has done that. So, Shannon, how much credit does LeBron deserve for the win?
Well, he deserves a lot of credit. Skip, I think if there's a scenario that if Caruso and AD plays, LeBron maybe takes the night off. But I think Frank Vogel, the head coach, realized that there's no way we have even chance of winning this game without AD, without LeBron and Caruso. So I believe if AD, Caruso had been there, LeBron maybe would have taken the night off. But because they weren't, LeBron says, okay, coach, I'll go. Skip, to put these kind of minutes on his legs at this late in his career, man, I mean, they went to double overtime Friday, they went to overtime on Monday, and went to overtime again last night, 40-plus minutes, and he's doing a lot of heavy lifting. And he's trying to manage it. You know, he goes in spurts where he gets 7, 8, 9 points, and then he's like, okay, hey, get up all the trays down on the block. Okay, keep shooting. Hey, Wesley Matthews, Schroeder, take it over. Trying to conserve energy, just trying to be out there, just knowing his presence alone sometimes is enough to help the team stay together and produce a victory. But he was spectacular last night. On that last shot, Skip, I'm like, well, damn, where is LeBron? I'm like, we lined up to shoot, get a shot. Little did I know, Skip, they were going to hit that Villanova handoff. Remember, Villanova hit that game winner. It was the guy in the backcourt that came up. He passed it to him. Did you watch it? So I just want to know one thing before I continue on. Would you consider that clutch? Because if you missed that shot, because you said the game, there was no harm, no foul. If he misses that shot, the game's over, right?
Well, not quite.
So now you got to foul them. They make free throws.
20 seconds left.
No, 20 seconds. It was like 15.
No, it's 20. When he shot it, it was 20.
Yeah. But you feel very comfortable saying if he misses
Is it my turn? I'll go. Let me go. If you hand off the ball, I'm going to run with it.
I got it. 130 minutes, second most minutes played over 3 games this season. The most he's played in a regular season game in 2017, Skip. But the Lakers have got to do a better job of getting off to faster starts, Skip, because they get off to these such slow starts. And you got to realize, even though these teams are not, the Lakers are top-heavy, Skip. We got to stop this notion that they're just loaded, because they're just not.
Okay.
They're top-heavy. But they got to do a better job of getting off the faster starts. They're letting these young teams with these young legs, guys that are 22, 23, Skip, they can play 40 minutes. They can run all day. You can't do that. So you let them get a 15-point, you let them get a 20-point lead, Skip.
Yeah.
You have to spend so much energy. A lot of times you're not able to get over the hump.
Okay.
Give them credit. They were able to get over the hump the last couple of times.
Okay.
But you're going down a path that you really don't care to be on. But give LeBron credit. LeBron was sensational last night. And that's why he's the MVP front runner. I think he showed that last night.
Really?
Yeah, he showed it.
The guy with the second most turnovers in the league.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The guy that had
five more last night.
And the guy that has the second best record in the Western Conference. He showed it last night.
Oh, second best record. Wow. Interesting. Okay, it is now officially my turn.
Go ahead.
Let's frame this. Let's put it in context and perspective with the fact that these were the 10 and 14 Thunder that you got to play sort of back-to-back on Monday and Wednesday night in your place in Staples Center. And last night, unexpectedly to me, they're not only without George Hill, who's, you could argue, their second best player and a starter, but they were without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is their first best player. So they're down two of their, you could argue, their best two players. And they don't even have Isaiah Roby, who's been pretty good for them, 9 points and 5 rebounds. And they are a 10 and 14 basketball team. So they are not going to make the playoffs. So let's keep it in perspective of, you just went to double overtime against a Detroit team that will not make the playoffs, and then you went to overtime and overtime against a Thunder team that will not make the playoffs.
Not the Detroit team to beat the Nets. That team not going to make the playoffs? That
team took you to double overtime in your place.
That team beat you.
In Staples. So all three of those games happened at quote-unquote home.
Okay.
Now, let's step back and look at what was happening during the game. LeBron, once again, was guarded by a 6'3", 21-year-old, undrafted out of Arizona State named Lou Dort, who most people thought wouldn't even be on any team, let alone in the starting lineup for Oklahoma City team up against the world champion Los Angeles Lakers at Staples. And he is guarding LeBron James, who is 6 inches taller than him, okay, just for the record. So you would think LeBron would go trip-dub in that game, but he didn't because he looked tired to me.
Yes.
He just looked a little tired the whole game. So maybe he didn't quite have his legs because over the last 2 games now, after all that hysteria about the king can shoot the 3 now,
he can.
He's fallen back to his norm. Slowly but surely, he's now 5 of 19 over his last 2 games because he went 2 of 10 on Monday night, and then he went 3 of 9 last night. 5 of 19, yeah. Okay. So let's frame it with that. He's starting to fade back into what he usually is. He's a career 34% shooter. And I'd like to think he'd end up a little better than that this year, a little better, but he's fading.
Like I said, we already got the cases that he's going to shoot 38% or better. So.
Well, you're getting in more and more
trouble.
trouble.
Worry about that. We're going to finish with 38 or better.
All right. So this is what I did love about LeBron last night. With 41 seconds left, if we could see this in regulation, he takes a 3 that he missed. This is a big miss because this is for the lead, and he takes it over little Lou Dort, and he missed it. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, they're about to get in some trouble here because that made him 2 of 8 from 3 at that point. 2 of 8. So he can't be feeling real good about himself. And then they do get in deep trouble because they're down 3 with 20 seconds left, and your play happens. And it's the Villanova handoff play, and they worked it to perfection. I love this, and a really good screen to get Dort a little bit off him by Trez. Right. That was well executed by Trez. And this is the best shot LeBron James has hit all season long. That was clutch because you needed it just to tie the game at that point. Maybe you would have gotten another shot. You'd probably have to foul to get the other shot or take the ball away from them because they are a little turnover prone. But the point was, I will give you that was a big shot. That tied it, and then little Lou gets another. He gets a pretty good look. He got a good look at the buzzer and back ironed it. It was right on line, but it back ironed, and that made him 0 for 5 from 3 for the game. So you go to overtime, and it's kind of a sluggish overtime. Not much is happening. But then Wesley Matthews hits the shot of the night, which even eclipsed LeBron's tying shot, which was just a game. It was from LeBron. It was kind of an awkward fall-down pass, but It was a sweet shot from a guy who can make big shots for you, Wesley Matthews.
But guess what? Had Wesley Matthews missed that shot, guess what Skip Bayless would have said? LeBron James, you're right there in the lane. Why didn't you shoot him over it? Why didn't you shoot over them? You're 6'9". Why didn't you go all the way to the basket and draw the foul?
I'm glad you brought that up because I decided to give LeBron a pass on that play just because it did go in from 3.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, I'll give you that. But I'm glad you brought that up because that did cross my mind at that point.
I know it did.
Okay, so thank you very much for saying something I decided I wouldn't say
But I know
today.
what you were thinking it.
Okay, so then they go down and score, and you come back, and now it's up to LeBron down on the low post. He's got it sort of along the baseline on little Lou Dort, 6 feet 3 inches tall, and LeBron's going to dribble down the clock, and then he's going to take what could be a clinching shot because it would put you up 3 and at least force a second overtime for them to have to make a 3 to tie you. And if we see LeBron's, I got you, I'm going to shoot a little step back. Nothing but air. LeBron shot an air ball. You undid your clutchness on the tying 3. You shot an air ball.
So,
well, what are you doing?
Let me ask you a question.
That's with like 4 seconds left.
So let me ask you a question.
No, I'm sorry, 7.8 seconds.
So,
yeah.
I mean, after playing 46 minutes on Friday, playing another 43 minutes. So you don't think LeBron's legs is tired?
Well, again, you know it's about over, and if you hit this shot, it's virtually over, and you airballed it.
You know that. Your body don't know that.
Okay.
Your body just knows that you've put in a lot of minutes on it over the last 3 games.
All I hear is he spends $1 million a year on his fitness.
Skip.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that spend a lot of money.
Hey, you got that right. So, and they don't get there, right?
We spend a lot of money on our body with gym membership and the way we eat and the way we
all the weights that I've bought over the last year in this pandemic. That is correct.
Exactly. But Skip, you know, look, I think it's reasonable to think at that juncture of the game, here's third overtime, the first time the Lakers have been involved in something like this. You know what? Year 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he did have enough legs to pull off this defensive play at the very, very end of the game because the kid Williams is trying to inbound it, and he's trying to hit Diallo, who's cutting
to the basket.
up court.
Yeah, he's trying to get him going to the basket.
And guess who blanketed him like a shutdown corner was Schroeder. Just took Diallo away. So now it's up to Al Horford to try to run backwards the wrong way with covered by, guess who, LeBron James. Who does LeBron cover? He covers the slowest guy on the court because he's gassed at that point.
I think the thing is, Skip, what he knows.
Here it is again. So Al says, okay, I got it. It's a soft inbounds pass, and obviously LeBron can outrun Al Horford to the ball, and he did. And to his credit, LeBron saved it back inbound to kill some more clock.
The thing is that he knew what the clock is going off in his head. LeBron knows, okay, they missed Diallo.
They're going to have a 5 second.
Yes. Yeah. So he knows Al Horford, so let me jet it. So because Al is running away, Al doesn't come to him. He goes away. He gives LeBron an opportunity to do like a corner.
He did.
Come between him and the ball.
And obviously LeBron is faster than Al Horford, so he easily beat him to a soft, weak pass from that Kenrich Williams, another undrafted kid playing for the Thunder out of TCU. So they got a bunch of undrafted nobodies.
But Williams was playing his tail off last night.
He had a big game.
He couldn't miss the first half. He couldn't miss last night, Skip. But look, like I said, after playing those 3 overtimes, the last of the 3 overtimes at that many minutes, I can understand why LeBron legs. But you know, air balls happen, Skip. I mean, LeBron James is not the only great player that shot an air ball. You think he is?
No.
Hey, Jim, we got that tape. I want to show you something.
Yeah.
Now I know a guy the other night. Oh, who is this right here, Skip?
Yeah.
He got to the mid range, right there.
Is that for the game? Wait, that's in like the second quarter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny that you say that, Skip. It's funny that you said that because he did miss the last shot in regulation that would have won the game for him. He won it. He back-ironed it. And he had a turnover. I know you did. Don't worry about it.
Some revisionist history going on here.
No. Ain't no revision. What is this, Skip?
You know, I'm glad you brought him up because, by the way, Kawhi Leonard last night had an MVP caliber game. He had his season high 36 points at Minnesota. They were in some trouble.
How many times we had 36?
He just took the game over.
Oh, so let me ask you a question. What seed do we think let me ask you a question. What seed do we think the Timberwolves going to be in the Western?
Thunder, Pistons, they're all kind of the same.
Hold on.
Right?
You know what? So
this was at Minnesota as opposed to at Staples versus the Thunder, or what's left of them.
So I know a team, the Wizards, the Cavs, and the Pistons, beat a team that's historically great with a bunch of great players on that team. Are they going to the playoffs? Which one of the Cavs, the Wizards, or the Pistons? Which one going to make the 8th seed?
I thought we were just talking about the Lakers versus the Clippers.
But no. But what I'm saying is that what you tried to do is that LeBron shoots an air ball after playing 3 games of over 40-plus minutes.
It was the clinching shot. It would have clinched a second overtime at the very least, and probably would have clinched the game.
Let me ask you a question. If he misses that 3, what would that have done? We don't even get a chance to clinch another shot if he doesn't make that 3.
By the way, the Thunder last night were 28.6% from 3. So you think they were going to go down and make a 3 to tie the game if LeBron hits that clutch closing shot? Nope.
No, Skip. If he doesn't hit the 3 in regulation, there is no 3. There is no closing shot in overtime. You're not getting to overtime because all you need now is to make 1 shot, and it's a 2-possession game. So now you got to have the foul game. You're playing the foul game assuming that you're going to make a shot on the other end.
Okay.
How about let's not do the scenario. LeBron missed this shot. How about let's give LeBron credit for making the game-time 3.
I did.
The game-sealing steal. But no, what you tried to bring into the equation, they're playing Detroit. Hold on. AD didn't play. Is AD a good player? Yes or no?
Is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a good player? Yeah, he's pretty good.
I tell you what. I'll give you 10 Shai Gilgeous. You give me 5
okay,
AD.
but he's the best player on the bad team you were playing against. They don't even have their best player, quote unquote.
And we don't have our second and third. Okay. And again, they played. Remember, they played the other night without AD.
So now you've gone 3 straight overtimes as a franchise for the first time since 90-91.
Yes.
The James Worthy days.
Yes.
And
that was right after Magic had just retired.
That's right. And you've won 6 straight games, barely. And guess what it reminds me of a little bit? How about the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, who I kept saying that they're death-defying. They're playing with their 8th, 9th life.
This is what I don't get, and this is the problem that I have with people. People gave Michael Jordan so much credit to go out there and play on a meaningless Monday, a meaningless Wednesday against no names. LeBron James does that, and they win, and you crucify him for it. I want to know the difference.
Crucify him. I said that was his best shot he's made all year, all season long.
But I'm saying, you didn't say, even when Jordan lost, you didn't say that. You said he played meaningless ball games. Nobody cares about a game in February and December.
I told you what is going on. He is still trying to chase Jordan by chasing Kareem's all-time points record. He needs to play every game. Has he missed a game all year?
Let me ask you a question. What was Jordan chasing when he was playing those meaningless games?
Just dominance.
You see what you did? You see what you did? Jordan wanted to be dominant. But see, you see what you do?
He just wanted to effectively slit the throat of everybody he played, and if it happened to be the Thunder on a Wednesday night, he was coming for
you. See what you did?
Well, it's what everybody did.
LeBron James doesn't want to be dominant. LeBron always have to have an ulterior motive other than winning the basketball game. But the other greats, the Jordans, the Kobe, the Larrys, all they wanted to do was win. LeBron doesn't want to win. It's always something. Oh, he's stat padding. Why can't he want to win? You gave Jordan credit for playing all 82. Now LeBron's trying to play every game, and you ding him for it.
I'm only reacting to what the great Shannon Sharpe kept saying before the season started, straight across from me, and what LeBron said on the shop. I will cherry pick games over the first couple of months. I will take a bunch of games off, and he was almost like daring. He was challenging the NBA for challenging him back by starting too soon. Remember? He said, let's wait until MLK Day. No, they're going to go on Christmas Day, and he had to go 3 days before Christmas, the shortest NBA offseason ever. And he said, I'm sorry, if you do that to me, I'm going to do it back to you. I'm going to skip some games over the first 2 months. He skipped no games.
I get it, Skip. Even though I thought LeBron would have taken some games off, I'm not Shannon Saki. I'm not Jen Psaki. I'm not the official spokesperson of LeBron James. I thought he would. LeBron doesn't feel that he needs to take time off right now. So I'm speaking on what I thought would have transpired given the 71 days, given the 18 years.
That LeBron James is now 4th in the whole NBA in minutes played so far? Do you realize he's only 2 minutes short of R.J. Barrett for 3rd place, and he's only 3 minutes short of Fred VanVleet for 2nd place in the NBA overall minutes played?
Well, Skip, that's what, Skip, when you start playing 46, you start playing
3 and 41.
Yeah.
He's in his 18th season.
Yes.
What are you doing?
He's trying to win. Oh, he tried to slit the throat. That's what you would say if Jordan would have done it.
Yep, okay.
Okay,
so he's trying to do that, but Jordan wasn't doing it in year 18.
Jordan wasn't around in year 18.
Well, that's the point. He had a run through Chicago, and then it ended.
He should have taken
1998.
LeBron James has done everything he possibly could to take care of himself, to put himself in this position. There is no guarantee. Even sometimes you can do everything right, and your body will still fail you.
Yep.
LeBron has been blessed. God has given him an extremely durable body.
Yep.
But LeBron James has been blessed when he says, okay, I understand what I have, and I'm going to take care of it beyond what the normal NBA players would do. But there is no guarantee.
Okay, he is Iron Man. He is the most durable superstar I have ever witnessed, ever. But I am going to once again knock on my little wood over here for him because he is, quote unquote, daring the injury devil right now because you can't keep pushing like this at this stage and this age.
But why was it? Hold on. I remember the time when guys were sitting out. Guy was load managing. And some of the great players was critical. We played every game. Skip Bayless said Michael Jordan played 9 years. He played all 82. There was another year he played 80. And Skip Bayless just, ooh, that's what Michael did. Michael. LeBron James tries to play every game. All he cares about is stat pad. All he cares about is Kareem. Why didn't you have that same energy for Jordan?
If he had sat on the shop next to Maverick Carter and said, you know what? I don't care how soon the season's starting. I'm going to play all 72 or whatever it is. Is it 72, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll play every game. Throw them at me, I'll play all of them. I didn't hear that from him. I'm only reacting to what he said going in. That's
Skip, at the time, sometimes you say things at the time, that's how you feel. That's what you actually feel. That's what you actually think. And then when that moment arises, you're like, I've been in a situation where, like, man, somebody asked me to do something. I was like, man, I'm not going to do it. And then at the last minute, I get, man, let me go ahead and do this. Hey, that ain't, I can do that. LeBron James was probably sitting there at the time thinking, man, I just only had 71 days. 71 days. I really had no time. I'm going to be sitting this game, sit that game. And then the closer you realize, but I think the biggest thing is, Skip, it's not like LeBron James is counting down. He's going 18 backwards. He's going 18 forward. But he knows this. He has less time than what he originally had. And so I think he understands that when it's over, it's going to be over.
Yep.
And he's relishing this opportunity, just like Tom. Tom understands that, I want to play 2-3 more years.
Okay.
But that's not 5-7 more years.
Okay. So I do want to congratulate your man, LeBron James, for finally hitting a clutch shot, even though he kind of undid it with an air ball. But that's okay, because he finally hit a clutch shot.
No. Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. All I know is my guy got more walk-offs than anybody, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, your guys played longer than anybody.
That's not my fault, Skip. But they in the playoffs, they should have hit more shots. My guy. Shots.
Yeah. You guys miss more of them.
Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, Skip, what you did? You gave the man a compliment.
Yep.
Then you undermined the compliment that you gave him.
Then you challenged my compliment, and I had to fire back.
What you mean? Because you wouldn't leave it alone. Instead of you just saying, you know what, LeBron played good. That was a big-time shot. Shannon, it's been a while since I've seen him hit one of those shots. One of those shots that if he misses, there's a great chance they're going to lose. Not one of those shots that if he misses, they'll stay tied. That's what. But what did you do? But what about overtime? Again, 6'3". Nobody asked you how tall Lou Dort was. Nobody asked you what round he... No one asked you. Hold on. Some of the great Ben Wallace. Was Ben Wallace any good at defense?
And your point is?
4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay. And
undrafted.
Your point is? Oh, undrafted. Okay.
Okay.
Way to go, King.
Way to go, King.
20-6.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away.
For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
I don't know about you guys. I couldn't get enough of this yesterday. Tom Brady clearly isn't afraid to have a good time celebrating his 7th Super Bowl win. And during the Buccaneers' boat parade, Brady got confident enough to toss the Lombardi trophy from his boat across to another that had Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Braid on it. Thankfully, the trophy was caught by Braid, who called it the best catch of his life. Several other posts showed Brady partying, letting loose all day, even getting just a little help walking at one point. Shannon, what did you think of Brady's day?
Clearly, he let his hair down on that one, Skip. I mean, he was, and I'm surprised that he let himself go like this in public. Now, behind the scenes, Skip, if they have the ring celebration, or with teammates or things like that. Yep. But I'm a little surprised that he let himself get out there like this in the public. Yep. Now, he showed up with the big flex. Yep. He pulled up in a $2.5, $3 million boat, had a police escort. I said, okay, that's how you make an entrance. Yep. That's how you let them know I'm Tom Mofo Brady, yep. And yeah, this is how I do it. Yep. So he pulled up. I was like, okay, look at Tom. The police escort skipped the yacht, yep. Which is very fitting. Tampa, Miami, it's very fitting that you have a yacht. Mm-hmm. But I was surprised that Tom let his hair down to this extent. Mm-hmm. Publicly. Now, I was hoping when he threw the trophy, Skip, it went into the water, because I wanted to see who was going in after. That's what I wanted to see. My money's on Gronk. I'm laying plus 2,500 on Gronk to go get that water. Go get that trophy out the water.
It's a heavy trophy.
I think Gronk can go do it. I think Gronk going to get that trophy.
I'm assuming the Hillsborough River is pretty deep at that point.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm not sure Gronk's going to go to the bottom of the river, into the murky bottom of the river, looking for that without scuba gear.
My money's on Gronk. Gronk gonna hit the water, gonna come back up with that trophy.
I can't believe it.
So for me, Skip, yes, I'm not surprised that Tom is extremely happy, Skip. You know what he did? He left an organization that didn't believe in him anymore. Yep. Mm-hmm. And he won a championship without the umbrella of the Patriot way, without Coach Belichick. Yeah. So he's feeling really, really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many people thought he was going to feel this good publicly. Golly gee whiz, Tom, yeah, guys, you know what, hey, had a great time in New England. I still have a lot of friends there. I'm very fond of the people in New England. Mm-hmm. He's saying all those things. But deep down inside, we know human nature tells us when someone bets against us and we bet on ourselves and we win, we feel really good, even though we might not verbalize that publicly. Yeah. Well, his celebration lets me know, Skip, he didn't feel good. He feels great. Great. And so the only thing that I'm surprised, I'm glad because I'm glad that Tom showed that side of him instead of always being buttoned up and always being guarded. But I am surprised that he let himself get to this extent publicly. Mm.
Okay, what I'm about to say about the Lombardi toss is serious, straight from the heart. That was the greatest clutch throw of Tom Brady's career. And I spoke all week long, a week ago, about how Tom's just the clutchest performer in the history of sports because he's done it so many times on so many big Super Bowl stages. Obviously, he had 6 game-winning drives in fourth quarter and overtime to win 6 rings going into Sunday. And then they didn't even need a fourth quarter drive because it was a second quarter drive that won the game in the beatdown of Kansas City.
Well, Skip, not to cut you off, but I'm glad they didn't throw it back to Tom because I don't know if he was going to catch it like they caught it.
No, that's a fact. So the point about Tom's clutchness has always been to me, and I wrote about this for FoxSports.com, is that He's long-term clutch. He's long drive clutch, but he didn't have any signature moment. He doesn't have any walk-off clutch throws where you say, boy, I remember that one.
Right.
I can't remember a single throw of Tom's career where I say, God, remember when he did that? Maybe I'll remember the Scotty Miller throw into half at Green Bay. But still, it was still little Scotty Miller. Is, you know, it's like the lone ball that you throw to Scotty Miller.
But like you said, it's at the end of the half.
Yeah.
Now, that was at the end of the, to win the game. Now, that's a walk-off.
That's a walk-off. For me, this was the equivalent of a walk-off. And I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. That is a throw. That was hard to do. Now, again, was it alcohol-fueled? Probably. Did he have a little more confidence and courage because he'd had a couple too many to drink? Maybe. Yeah. But it's such a long throw from boat to boat. And you've lifted that trophy, right? It's heavy. It's heavy.
Yeah.
And for him to sort of weigh this moment and say, I think I can do this. It's a long throw.
Yeah.
He's not the strongest guy. He's not a weight room warrior. You know, he's more pliability, right?
Yeah.
And so, and he's got a little above average arm, but he's never had a cannon. And this is more of a body throw. This is a core throw, right?
Yes.
This is where you have to twist into, it's like hitting a golf ball where you got to hit it with your core. You got to twist into the tee shot. And for him to twist into this and get enough on the trophy to get it airborne and keep it airborne from boat to boat, it had high probability of winding up in the bottom of the river. Because it's one thing to throw it that far, it's yet another thing to get it deep enough into the other boat that they don't drop it in the river. Because if you just get it to the edge, they're going to fumble it into the river.
That trophy probably weighs about 7, 8 pounds, I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm going to guess more than that.
Yeah, well, it's heavy, Skip, and the edge is kind of sharp on the bottom. You know, anything with the bottom,
it's hard to catch.
So I'm surprised. Look, if Gronk had thrown his, Skip, it would not have surprised me if Gronk would have done anything. If Gronk would have just tucked it and thrown it in the water, I wouldn't have been surprised, considering he used it as a bat.
I got it.
At Fenway. But Brady to do that.
Okay, and he gets it up high enough and deep enough that it's like a Hail Mary, like the one he threw to Gronk that Gronk couldn't come down with in the second Philly Super Bowl. And Cameron Brate rises above the crowd to snag it. Yeah. And Cameron Brate said he was scared to death, like he's afraid he was going to drop it. Like it was, for him, it was the clutchest catch he's ever made.
Well, I'm glad he caught it because he probably would have had he'd had a busted up face or a couple of teeth missing. Yeah. Because that thing hit you, Skip, it's going to hurt.
Okay. Now, to the second half of this, we obviously saw him, the whole video of him stumbling home. Okay. I scanned the Drunk Brady Twitter thread that was all day long, all afternoon long. It sounds like Jenny was all over it also. And
couldn't look away.
It was the first time ever that I saw comment after comment after comment from Brady haters saying, I can't help but love this. I think that was the most endearing moment of this guy's, what are we up to, 20-year career as a starter, 21 years as a player. Yeah. Because most people can't stand him because he's just too boringly good. He just keeps on keeping on, but he's not Mahomes. There's no looks, there's no behind the backs, there's no left-handed pass.
You know why they love this, Skip?
Yeah.
Because for the first time, he made himself human.
He made himself incredibly vulnerable and human and relatable. Tom Brady was actually relatable yesterday.
Everybody said the exact same thing, but if I wasn't that bad, I'm getting towed up.
Okay, well, he was. And he needs assistance on both sides to get to the car.
To stand up.
Right? to get free. And to your point, I believe it was the happiest football day of his life.
I believe so,
I mean, obviously, Sunday night was a big deal, but this is where you've had time to let it sink in. Right. You've sort of slept for a while so that you're back to normal. Yeah, well,
he ain't been sleep yet.
Well, he had to sleep one of the nights, maybe last night.
No. He slept last night. He probably hung over this morning. Okay. But he ain't sleep Sunday night, Skip.
Not Sunday night, but maybe Monday or Tuesday. But my point is, now it's sunk in. Right. Now he sits back and says, God, look what I just did. Right. I stuck it to that guy who stuck it to me in New England. And it was huge for him because He pulled this thing off with a bunch of guys that he really likes.
Yes.
He really had fun playing football. He has fun playing for that coach, even though that coach was ridiculously hard on him in post-game comments. I think they made peace with that in their bye week, and then I didn't hear any more of that. And all they did after their bye week was win 8 straight games. They went 8-0 out of the bye, okay? And he pulled off something with a 7-9 team in a pandemic with no preseason. That's what he's... That's why the depth of achievement, it just got to him yesterday, and he finally let go.
I think the person that we saw yesterday, that Tom is more like the person we saw yesterday than he is after he won the 6 in New England. Now, I'm not saying he's all the way that, but I'm saying he's closer to that. And when people say he's more of himself, he seems more happy, allows guys to show their personality. Coach Belichick, everybody is one and the same, with the exception of Gronk. Gronk was really allowed to show his personality, Skip, but the other guys that's come through there, they say the same thing, this, and this. I believe, and I agree with you, I believe Tom, all of them special. All of them special.
Sure.
But I think this one, the significance of it, it's not the Patriot way. It's not Coach Belichick. It's not, oh, he's a systems guy. I am the system. You can have any systems you want, but you better have somebody that can program it. You better have somebody that can understand it and can code it. That's him.
So in the previous 6 celebrations, the parade celebrations in Boston, Brady wasn't front and center.
He just waves, hey guys.
There's nothing going on, nothing to say. He's not throwing Lombardi trophies from duck boat to duck boat in downtown Boston.
And that's what happens, Skip. See, there's a difference when it's 80 and sunny and you're on the water as opposed to 20 and snow on the ground in Boston.
Very good point, which he's well aware of. He and his family, according to all the reports, they love it there.
And they say, I ain't never going back.
I mean, here we are in February, and they're all out there in shorts and T-shirts. That's pretty cool.
I'll go back when, when they put me in the Ring of Honor, they retire my jersey, and they put me stuff like that, to the reunions. He's going to be going to a reunion every year because they're about to have, Skip, when they start having the 5 and 10 and 15, 20-year reunion. Tom is going to be going to a reunion like, damn, I just saw you guys last year. Yeah, we're going to see you again.
So the shock to me was Tom Brady won Super Bowl MVP, and then he won Parade Day MVP. He won.
The upstage Gronk in a celebration.
It does.
But he upstage
Or
Gronk.
even, as we're about to discuss, Bruce Arians with a microphone in his hand. It's hard to upstage him.
And Bruce had a few with him, too.
I think he often does.
Everyone was feeling it, feeling good, feeling confident. And you know what? Good for Tom. And you guys said it best. He was relatable yesterday, and it was almost refreshing to see in a lot of ways. And that's hard to do after a fun day. Guys, obviously his teammates, though, were enjoying themselves because the Super Bowl win has given the Buccaneers all the confidence in the world during their victory parade. Devin White, JPP, Shaq Barrett, and what seemed like every other member of the team took the mic to say that they're going to repeat as champions. Even the guys at top couldn't help themselves, with GM Jason Light saying, quote, "We're going to bleep and win this thing again." And then Bruce Arians also didn't hold back. Take a listen.
Anybody that says running back, all right, that's Kansas City. We're going for 2. We're going to keep this band together, and they know how to win.
Shannon, you have a problem with any of this?
I don't have a problem with it, Skip, no. That's what you said, these things. Skip, I've never heard anybody say, like, nah, we good with 1. We ain't trying to get back here. Everybody says that we're going to repeat because they know ultimately that's how you're judged. There have been a lot of teams that's won 1 in a row. Mike Shanahan told us the very first time after we won, we came in there for that first meeting. He said, if you want to be special, you got to repeat.
Well, sure. Okay.
So,
all right. But he said that to you. He didn't say it to us.
No. We didn't do it. And Skip, if you think about it, you never saw any of that in New England. They won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they didn't say nothing about no next year.
Nothing.
So that's the difference when the expectations, because they got this, there were some expectations, but I don't think anybody expected them to reach the pinnacle so soon. And so everybody's feeling good. Oh, we bringing everybody back. Skip, and I thought the exact same thing. Man, I'm looking around like, man, if we get Zim to come back, we get this one to come back, you a free agent. He go, it's never going to be the same. Unfortunately for them, all the coaching vacancies look like they're filled, so they're not going to lose Byron Leftwich, or they're not going to lose Todd Bowles. They're not going to lose anybody off their staff, so the staff is going to come back intact.
Good point.
But they do have some free agencies. They have Shaq Barrett. Somebody's going to throw $100 million at Shaq Barrett. It's going to be hard to walk away considering, Skip, I was an undrafted free agent. And for the first 5 years, 4 or 5 years of my career, I didn't even make $1 million a year. Now, he may got a big payday last year, that franchise tag, but somebody's going to give him an opportunity to have generational wealth. I don't know if he turns that down. I don't believe he does. Chris Godwin, somebody's going to throw a boatload of money at him because he was a number 2, and a lot of teams are going to believe that he can be a number 1. So they're going to pay him number 1 money, somewhere averaging probably around $15 to $17 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't know if he turns that down. But the greatest equalizer, one of the greatest things that will come into play why you don't repeat is what happened to Kansas City. You lose 4 offensive starters. Skip, remember, early in the season, Osimile was lost, and he was playing outstanding.
Good player.
So you lose Osimile, you lose Fisher, you lose Schwartz, you lose one of your guards before the season because he opts out to do COVID in his native Canada. So basically, you're down 4 starting offensive linemen.
Okay. It happens.
Injuries.
Yep.
And that's the thing that you're going to have to guard against. You're going to lose some of your free agents, but injuries is the number 1 reason why I believe, Skip, obviously you have some complacency, but I believe injury is the number 1 key to why teams don't repeat.
All right. My turn. You have won 3 Super Bowls in 3 tries, so you do know what of you speak. I've covered many, many Super Bowl winners, and I've been sort of inside the reaction to Super Bowls. In all my years covering the National Football League, I have never, ever witnessed, this time from a distance, a more outrageously outspoken guarantee of a reaction as these guys gave us yesterday. They were guaranteeing they're going to come back and win a second one. I'm sorry, it just took me aback for a while because it went all the way up to the general manager just saying, we're going to effing win this thing again. That's a strong statement from an executive.
Yeah.
You just don't get them. And remember, I was around those 90s Cowboy dynasty teams led by Michael Irvin, who can get as full of himself as anybody who ever played the game of football. I never got any of this.
No.
They broke through a year early because of the Charles Haley trade, so they had the catalyst that got them over the hump past the 49ers. Big upset at Candlestick to get them to a Buffalo team that was overmatched against them in the Super Bowl, and it was a wipeout. I got none of this. I think they were just kind of shocked by, we did this? Yeah. Jimmy kept telling you, you're good enough to do this. Okay, but nobody said, we're going to do this again next year, but they did do it again next year, and then they didn't say boo about doing it a third year. No one ever won 3 in a row, but nobody talked like this. I've never heard anything like this, and then we even get to the head coach. Obviously, he'd had a couple, and he's obviously outspoken to start with. But for him just to go off on the Chiefs with the microphone in his hand, he says, anybody that says run it back, which is what the Chiefs kept saying is their second time around, he said, you know what? But he said, BS. That was Kansas City's BS. We're just going for 2. And he acted like it's just a done deal. We're going to do it. We're a band of brothers. We're all coming back. Well, money talks as opposed to the coach speaking.
Exactly.
But that's what he said. And then of the Chiefs, he said, we physically kicked their ass. Well, they did.
Yeah.
That was a nasty butt kicking to me because that defense, once it gets cranked, thanks to Todd
Bowles. Well, they beat
Bowles,
their offense up too. They beat their offense. They beat Kansas.
Beat the
Bucs.
defense.
Yes, Bucs offense beat Kansas City's defense.
Leonard Fournette just beasted them.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. The offensive line just stood them up and stood them off. Okay.
Yep.
So the point is, usually I'd be horrified by this kind of talk, but as I watched it yesterday unfold, it rang true to me. It's like they believe it with all their might. They believe they're coming back and win it again. Are they a little naive? Well, why do they believe it? Because they have the GOAT at quarterback who's playing better than ever, going on 44. So they're thinking, we got that guy. He's a Super Bowl MVP. So that's why you're empowered. You get a little too full of yourself because you're speaking from a position of strength.
But Skip, because they've never been in there. Tom has been in there. They don't know how hard it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're about to be, this year.
Yeah. Now you got the target and all that.
Everybody's Super Bowl.
Sure.
Everybody measures them by what they do against you.
Okay. But the reason I didn't have a problem with it was it didn't ring like false bravado. It didn't come off as fake tough guy talk. It sounded like a bunch of tough guys saying, we're just going to do this again.
Oh, well, Skip, you don't think when Kansas City had their parade, they didn't think they were going to run it back?
I'm sure they did. It was different, though. The feeling was different. They just had kind of like this supreme confidence, like we're just more gifted than you are. We got Tyreek, we obviously got Kelsey, and we got the best quarterback who ever threw the football.
I think the thing is they didn't think they were going to go besieged with the injuries to the offensive line like they got.
Well, obviously, and that's the great leveler, and it can happen to this team.
Right.
But we have seen teams win 2 in a row. And
Skip, there's a reason why it hadn't been done in 16, 17 years now. Because
3.
It's hard.
Oh, 2 in a row.
Yes.
Well, 3 in a row is never.
It's never been done. Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, the 49ers they won 88, 89, and then they lost in the championship game by 3 to the Giants when Roger Craig fumbled and LT recovered. They kicked the field goal. Because, Skip, there's a reason teams don't repeat. It's hard.
Okay. But what did the quarterback say pre-Super Bowl? Tom Brady said last week, very matter-of-factly, we will be better next year. Well, what is he talking about? He's talking about
the continuity, the understanding
and
of each other.
familiarity, right?
Yes.
Because they had to just throw it together on the fly with no preseason.
Right.
They had to figure it out in Week 13's bye week. Came the latest of any team's bye week. They had to figure it out.
Right.
Oh, this works, but that doesn't work. And somehow they got on a miraculous late season roll and won their last 8 games.
Right.
Well, he's saying, gee, give me a chance. And do you think Tom will work any less in this offseason than he worked? No, he'll be right out there just as driven as ever.
But Skip, that's the thing. You had COVID and you had their best running back opting out. You had one of their better offensive linemen opting out. You had the offensive line getting besieged by injuries. So that's what I'm talking about. See, you're talking
Kansas
about
City.
You're talking to Tampa's talking about, okay, we're coming back and everything. We're not going to have any because they really didn't lose anybody with significant injury for any length of time. I think Devin White, Skip, he missed the game. He missed the last game and he missed the last game or maybe the first game of the playoffs with the COVID protocol. Well, he missed the last game. I think he came back for COVID for protocols.
Yes.
But for the most part, Skip, they missed. I think they had a guard that was out for maybe 2 weeks.
No, well, Alex Kappa, no, he was lost.
Marpet was out for a game or 2 also.
Marpet was, but Kappa got hurt against Washington in the first playoff game, and he was gone for the rest of the year.
But when
they're playing with their backup left guard.
Right. So when you start Stinney, when you start, your offensive line and you lose a tackle, you lose Tristan Wirfs, who graded the highest.
He did.
Dude graded up all those snaps. He gave up 1 snap the entire season.
All right. But as little Scotty Miller said yesterday, he thinks that they have the best group of receivers in the league. Well, again, you can go depth. He's talking about there are just too many of us. Well, I'll give you the depth of them. I will not give you Tyreek and Kelsey because they're just better. Those 2 are better than anybody Tampa has. But if we just go 1 through 8, a lot of, again, they could lose Chris Godwin, which has got potential.
Yes.
And be okay because they signed AB.
Right.
And remember, Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson, who had big catches during the year, Scotty had no targets in the Super Bowl, and Tyler Johnson had one that zoomed right by his hands, and he wasn't looking. That was the end of him.
Right.
Okay? You don't think they're going to be factors next year because they're young players?
Yeah, they might not have the choice but to be factors because you lose Chris Godwin. So now AB is going to move to the number 2 slot, and so now somebody has to be that 3rd and 4th wide receiver.
Okay,
so
but
they'll get more opportunities.
Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, who caught the Lombardi yesterday, and O.J. Howard, who tore his Achilles tendon. I don't know what he'll be when he comes back, but potentially he's the best of the tight ends. What if you add him to the mix and he's 95% of what he used to be? You don't think they have depth at receiver? You don't think they can be just as overwhelming as they were this year? Right? And Ronald Jones is going to be there. I will bet you Fournette will be back. My little guy, Keyshawn Vaughn from Vanderbilt, had his moments. He'll contribute next year. All of a sudden, that's a deep football team with a lot of young talent on it. So you going to bet against them next year? I'm not.
I think the only thing that you're not surprised at what they're saying. You're surprised that they said it publicly because everybody has this kind of confidence. The Cowboys had this kind of confidence behind the scenes. Normally, teams have this kind of confidence behind the scenes. They're not because, Skip, when we won in Baltimore, guess what happened the next year? Jamal Lewis, Terry. And so now
I got it.
We're a totally different team.
I got it. But what if you don't get really injured next year? Because the Cowboys in '93, they lost Emmett to the contract holdout for 2 games.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they stayed, once they got Emmett back, they stayed healthy all the way.
What happens if they don't if Emmett stays out the whole season?
Well, they're done. They're not going to be able to pull that off.
That's not going to be the case there. But, Skip, I believe other teams will get better also. They'll get an understanding, okay, so this is what they are. They're not a just throw the ball deep now. They're more of a Patriots team, get the ball out of Tom's hands quick. So what we got to do, we got to take away his first read. We got to jam that first guy, that initial guy.
Yes, everybody will be gunning for them. Everybody will have a new blueprint as to how to slow or shut them down. I got that. But this team is putting it on the line. Devin White yesterday was just saying, we are going to win it next year. Well, that's called a guarantee. So they have guaranteed to the rest of the league, we're going to come and win.
Well, I'm going to be here. I'll be here for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be waiting right here. I'll be waiting right here.
No mercy.
The Hawks came up short 118-117 to the Mavericks last night, and Trae Young was furious at the officials at the end of the game. Trae felt he was fouled while setting a screen on the final inbounds play of the game, and afterwards gave the refs a piece of his mind. So, Shannon, was this a good non-call or a bad non-call?
Skip, I've seen him make this call before, and it seems like to me that Willie Cauley-Stein extended his elbow. Is that when he hit him? Now, maybe maybe Trae tried to oversell it, but I thought in a situation like that, and my thing is, this is the way I want to see it. If you call that play early in the game, call it late. If you haven't been calling it early, don't call it late. That's my only thing. And I've seen him, I mean, he ran through. Trae is not a big guy, and Trae has to draw charges, Skip, because he's not going to be able to, you know, he tried to set a pick, try to get somebody free, and I think what was going to happen, he was going to try to get John Collins, and he was going to pop and get the ball. Cauley-Stein runs over him. It's as simple as that. It's a foul. And maybe Trae does, he flops a lot. He gets a lot, he draws a lot of fouls, Skip. And maybe the refs are like, nah, we're not going for this one. But Trae, you did struggle in the fourth quarter, 1 from 4 from the floor. You did have 5 assists, but he's just trying to say, I can't score, but let me try to contribute in another way. Let me try to set a solid screen, free John Collins, and let's see what happens from there. But I thought they should have called it. They could have easily called that foul because I've seen them call that before.
Okay. I immediately tweeted incidental contact, good, no call. The referee, the chief of that referee crew, Josh Tiven, said after the game to the pool reporter, we deem the contact incidental. So I'm good with the non-call.
Everybody go say, I didn't mean to foul him. Everybody can say that was incidental contact.
What wasn't incidental to me was Trae Young's reaction post-game when he ran at Josh Tiven and almost got physical with him because he was out of his mind. And it was an ugly display from a kid who obviously is one of the rising stars in this league. And obviously you can't call it, but I would like to see him at least fined for this, at least censured a little bit, because you can't do that to that referee in that moment.
Well, if he get him again, guess what? He ain't going to get another call either.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. That's how they get you back.
That is how they get you back. Okay, now back to the play. With that little time left, and you're the #1 option, I was shocked that they would even ask him to set a screen. He's, what, 5'11"? Yeah. Right? What's he weigh? I don't know.
160, 170.
Okay. So you're going to set a screen on 7 feet, 240? What is the point of it? I don't get it, because nothing good is going to come out of that, right? And Willie Cauley-Stein, who doesn't have a reputation as some...
He was dirty dog.
No. Okay. And he said after the game, Willie Cauley said... I ain't even see Trae, because I don't think he did either, because he's way down there, and he just wheeled to follow his guy, and he said he's a smart kid. He was trying to get a quick little foul to shoot free throws. He would have shot 1 free throw and then got the ball back and iced the game. Well, it wouldn't have iced the game. It would have tied the game.
Right.
So to your point, it's possible in the backs of referees' minds, they're saying, I'm not going to just give you a tie game here because we're down to the end
Right.
here. This is it, sink or swim right now. And what are you doing in there in the first place? And he sold it, he exaggerated it, he flops a lot. And maybe his flopping reputation took away any hope that he had in that instance, that late in the game, of getting that call.
Because it was a very similar play last night in the Lakers OKC game, Skip, with Schroeder. He had the guy bang knees, and it had to go to the replay. It's like, okay, it was bang, he was basically bang, bang.
Okay.
So it was a very similar play. But I get it, Skip, in a situation like that, you're like, do I really want to be the reason that this game is really tied on a play like that? I'm sure there's a lot of things going through the official's mind. But like you said, Carly Stein said, he didn't see him.
He just didn't see him, and I believe he didn't see him.
I know
and he just kind of accidentally ran over the little guy.
Hey, Skip, I'm 7 foot tall. You 5'11". No, I don't see. I'm not looking down.
I'm not looking down. I've got other things on my mind.
I'm trying to find the guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my guy, not you. You just happen to get under my feet a little bit, and I accidentally ran over you, and that's what I think happened in that moment.
Yes.
Now I'm back to, why would you call a play for him? I get the concept of you pick and then you pop.
Right.
But it's so little time. He's your number one option. I need him to go get the basketball and make something happen. Then if you want to go pick for him and give him a chance, but they wind up just flailing, and Gallinari just shoots a kind of a fall away.
Yeah, which is not his shot.
It wasn't his shot, and it wasn't, it looks like a good look, but it's not his shot.
No.
And he missed it badly, and game ended. And by the way, what got lost was, did you see what Luka did with the basketball when the game ended? He grabbed it and threw it up into the upper deck like they had just won the NBA Finals. And I'm saying, what are you doing?
They finally won a game, Skip.
They've actually won 3 in a row. What is that? My God. Okay. Well, they have struggled so mightily all year, but that's their 3rd straight win after they had gone through a 6-game losing streak. And now they're 12-14.
So what are they, like the 12th? Or they're like the 11th or the 12th?
They're 11th.
Yeah.
Best in the West right now. So they're not even a playoff team as we speak.
Well, I think also, Skip, okay, Luka was the overwhelming favorite to win the MVP.
Runaway favorite.
And although he's putting up great numbers, Skip, it's not going towards them winning ball games.
Nope.
So I think it's very safe to say the Mavericks have been a disappointment, considering what we saw them do last year, considering what they did in the bubble, Skip, because they took the Clippers 6 games without no Porzingis. So we were expecting them to come back. Okay, they're gonna be a top. If they were a top 4 seed, I don't think anybody would have been surprised. We thought the regular players, we thought the Clippers, we thought the Lakers, maybe Utah, Denver. Okay, if they're fighting right there with Denver, the 4 or 5 seed, okay, fine. But the 11th seed?
Nope. What if I told you about the kid you call Baby Bird?
Yeah, he do it.
Baby Bird.
Another triple-double, Skip.
Yeah. Luka Doncic is now shooting 30.9% from 3. A liability of a 3-point shooter. You got to get better than that. 30.9%, it won't work. That ranks 162nd in the NBA of 100. You're at the bottom of the barrel. Well, he takes too many, and this is way too many.
That's the thing, Skip. If he's going to take that many, he definitely he needs to shoot better than 35%. He's taking like 7, 8 a game.
Okay.
So if you're going to shoot that bad, you need to be shooting 1 or 2 a game.
All right. And he still leads the league in turnovers. LeBron is second, but I give them both some break because they have the basketball in their hands a lot. And both LeBron, they're both gifted passers.
They'll try anything.
Luka is not as gifted as LeBron is at passing the basketball, but he is gifted.
Right.
And they will try to create things that aren't really there.
Right.
LeBron's getting worse and worse at it. He's just trying things where, you can't thread that needle. And once they get a fingertip on the ball, it's going the other direction.
It's going the other direction,
Okay. So in the end, Luka is off to a rough start, and that was actually a big win for him. And he went up and tried to hug Trae, and Trae wasn't ready to be hugged because he's out of his mind because he thinks he got robbed.
Well, and plus the thing, Skip, these are the 2 guys. They're forever connected. They were traded for one another.
Are they?
And I thought they both played, they commit 25. Trae was 25, 15, and 7. And Luka was a triple-double, 28, 10, and 10.
Yep.
So they played well. And so, Skip, when I play against you, and, it's kind of like, I guess, you look at D-Wade and LeBron, they're in that same draft class.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to show you that,
Well, sure. Those 2 especially, because they are just paired up against each other every time they play.
So I think it's good. It's a situation, but for me, Skip, I probably would have called it. He ran over Ice Trae.
I definitely would not have called it on my straight.
That's what it was, Skip. I
Yep.
mean, he's so small. They're like,
He's so
you
small.
just, he ain't even really hit you that hard. You just fell down because you're so small.
I'm waiting for the fine to come down. I think he could get fined for that misbehavior
For
at
that
the end of the game.
directed towards the official?
Yes.
25,000?
Yeah, like that. Just a little nominal wrist slap of a fine just to say, no, we can't do that.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
And Lucas tried. Lucas said, it's okay. Nah, man, get off me. You won.
That's true. He Brady'd him, right?
He did.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Time may be running out for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott to get a deal done. The two sides have not gotten close, and the Cowboys could attempt to franchise tag the quarterback for a second season in a row. Cowboys Hall of Famer and our guy, Troy Aikman, doesn't believe this would be the best course of action, saying, quote, I'd be really surprised if he's playing under the franchise tag again this year. My guess is if he is, that will be the last we see of Dak Prescott. So, Shannon, do you think they'll get a deal done soon here?
Nope. I hate to disagree with my teammate, Troy Aikman, not only here at Fox, but also in the Hall of Fame, Skip. But Troy said he was surprised they didn't have a deal last year or 2 years ago done with Dak. So I'm just trying to figure out what has changed between 2 years ago and right now.
Yep.
If you don't know what Dak is after 5 years, the Rams will say, you know what? We can't get it done with Jerry Goff. We're moving on. The Eagles seem to have said after 5 years, we don't know. We've got it figured out. Wentz is not the answer. We're going to move on. But it's only the Cowboys. I think we might need to see one more year to be certain, one way or another, that Dak is or isn't our guy.
Yep.
You don't believe, just let the man go. That's all you got to do. Why do you keep franchising him? If you don't believe in him, you don't believe in him long term. Because it seems to me that you're like, well, see, that's why we didn't look what they did with Wentz. Look what they did with Goff. Okay, fine. But Dak is looking at like, look at the other guys that you gave big money to and tell me they performed up to those contracts since you've given them that money. Now you want to hard time me. So for me, Skip, I disagree with Troy. I don't believe it's going to get done. My only thing is that if you are so uncertain, you don't believe Dak is the guy, because if you believed he was the guy, you was committed. That's why the Rams believed Goff was the guy. They committed. The Eagles believed Wentz was the guy. They committed. Normally, when teams believe you're the guy, they commit. When you keep franchising a guy, you're betting against the guy. We saw that with Cousins. And eventually they say, you know what, we're gone.
Okay.
When you start seeing it done with the quarterback, Skip, I don't believe they believe in Dak. I'm almost certain they don't. They just need to move on. If you don't think he's worth what he's asking for, let him test the market and then bring you back what he's gotten. And then you can say, nah, that's too much. Go ahead and take it. Or you can match it. But just let him go. Stop franchising him.
But, I mean, if you let him go, then he's unrestricted.
Yes.
So you don't have the right to match him.
You can, yeah. He can come back and say, you know what? What's your best offer? Okay, they're offering me this. What's your best offer? And then he might be willing to take a pay cut to stay in Dallas. But at least give him that option. You keep franchising him, but you don't believe in him.
Okay. So back to Troy Aikman's quote here. I'd be really surprised if he's playing under the franchise tag again this year. Man, I'm more with you. I'd be really surprised if they sign him soon.
Yes.
I'd be pleasantly surprised if they sign him soon, because if you told me that they could find a middle ground that seemed fair to both sides and that was palatable to the salary cap, I'd say, thank you, God, let's go forward.
Right.
Because Dak Prescott is really good.
Right.
Is he as great as Troy Aikman was? No, he's not.
Right.
Is he as great as Mahomes appears to be on path to be? No. Is he Deshaun Watson? Not quite.
But I think the thing is, Skip, quarterbacks, you judge quarterbacks differently, because if you just base quarterbacks on are they good or are they going to be like this historically great, there wouldn't be a whole lot of them making any money.
Okay. So what do we know up to this point? We know that Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott's representative got crossways. And when you get crossways with Jerry Jones in a negotiation, it can be over.
Right.
That man has the biggest negotiating pride I have ever encountered. If you cross him, if you do him dirty, do him wrong, he won't get over it. He'll just get even. And right now, getting even is dumping it, pushing him out the door as soon as you have a viable option.
Right.
Well, as Troy also said, never truer words have been spoken, they're not going to get very far without a franchise quarterback. Well, they're not.
Right.
So does Jerry have an ace up his sleeve? Because I don't know what the ace is. And don't tell me it's trading up in the draft to get Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, because they're not Dak Prescott.
No.
Again, from what I've seen, I've just named two, but from what I've seen, I'll go with Dak.
Yes.
He's much more proven commodity than they are.
Yes.
I love Dak Prescott, but as I told you yesterday, I love my Cowboys more. I don't want to see the cap get wrecked. And now Jerry Jones' pride is sideways. And he's also being validated by the fact that Carson Wentz is about to cost the Philadelphia Eagles $34 million in dead cap money because they are on the precipice of trading him. We're going to talk about it in just a minute.
Yep.
Jared Goff already got traded, and that cost the Rams $22 million in dead cap money. What do you think Jerry's saying? He's sitting back with his arm folded saying, I told you so.
But guess what has happened also in the years that Jerry Goff and Carson Wentz, both of those teams have played in the Super Bowl, one of them won. And what haven't the Cowboys done?
Okay. But again, the Carson Wentz one was because of Nick Foles, not because of Carson Wentz.
Well, I don't believe had Nick Foles started the entire season, we've seen what Nick Foles has done. Nick Foles is a great relief pitcher. But when you ask him to start the game, he's not the same guy. That's why he's in position. He's about to be traded back to Philly if the Chicago deal.
He probably so. But we watched him start 2 playoff games and then a Super Bowl and play the greatest quarterback we'd ever seen. Okay, so that's beyond a relief pitcher to me. But we'll save all that for the Carson Wentz discussion. Okay. So Jerry also is stung by the fact that he did overpay starting with Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke just wasn't Zeke last year. So how do you think that makes Jerry feel about Dak? They probably should be an apple-orange situation, but it's not. Jerry's saying, man, I overpaid. I overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence, for Jalen Smith.
Well, Skip, you can't be in a situation where you overpay for a house and then try to take it out on the guy that's trying to sell you the car. What the hell that got to do with me?
Okay, well, the house is way more important than the car.
What Dak says, like, you need to go ahead and pay me out of the house.
Okay, so now we get to the ultimate X factor here, and that is everybody who pounds their table and says, pay the man, pay him what? That's what I need to know. That is the unreported X factor. I don't know what that is. What are they demanding? What are they saying? Bottom line, we will not flinch unless you pay us $42 million a year, and obviously they want 4 versus 5 years, so they'll get free sooner than later.
Yes.
Okay, I got that. So I don't think that's a deal breaker, 4 versus 5. The deal breaker is how much for 4.
Well, you Skip, I believe the least they're coming in is 39. Deshaun Watson, with 2 years left, got $39 million a year. Yep. I don't see how Dak, with no years left on his deal, says I'm taking less than that.
All right. Well, he might want more than Deshaun Watson because he'd say that's the market.
Right.
Are you ready to do that? Because I'm not sure about him, because all I know is what happened 2 seasons back. All I know is what I kept hearing from the Hall of Famer across from me, because Dak got off to a hellacious great start. And Jerry said publicly after the opening game, our deal is imminent. That means they're to the point of signing the dotted line. And what happened? Dak had a hot hand, but it was against the Giants. And then it was at the Redskins. They were then the Redskins, obviously, no more. And then it was Miami coming to Dallas, and they were horrible that year. So it was 3 bad teams, 3 huge stat games, and then impasse. Because clearly the rug got jerked out from under Jerry, and they said, April Fools in September, guess what?
Right.
We want a whole lot more than we originally said we wanted. Jerry doesn't play that game, and once you get the bad blood going on, he's like out.
Right.
Okay, so then what happened?
So how do you get back in, Skip?
Okay, so what did Dak do? If he had kept going boom, 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 boom the rest of that year, if they'd gone to the NFC Championship game, you'd have him. He would have to eat the crow, but they didn't.
I don't believe so.
Okay, but what happened the rest of the year? From that game on, the last 13 games of the year.
They missed the playoffs.
Okay, and guess what? Pro Football Focus graded Dak from that point on, the last 13 games, the 15th best quarterback in football. Right. Well, you gave him, in the last 13 games, you gave him 7 Fs for his performances because I'm with you, they weren't very good.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Do you believe in your heart that Jerry Jones think Dak Prescott is better than Tony Romo, is a better quarterback than Tony Romo?
Then why would you throw Tony into the mix?
Because they put everything they could. They gave Tony Romo everything he had. They gave him T.O., they gave him top receiver, they got Jason Witten in his prime, that offensive line, a great running back, and they made him the highest paid quarterback at the time without blinking an eye.
Yep.
Dak Prescott is...
Here's what I do believe. I believe 2 years ago, he definitely thought he was better than Tony Romo. I think he's starting to have his doubts because he put up some numbers, but as you said, there were a lot of empty calorie numbers in the comeback against Atlanta, for instance. And remember that they played pretty well. He played pretty well against the Rams in the opener, but they lost. So my point is that he used to think that. Now I think he has some second thought about it.
I don't believe he ever thought that. That's why he was willing to do everything he possibly could to get Romo back in there Dak's rookie year, and it was Jason Garrett that fought tooth and nails, and maybe Stephen Jones that said, Dad, you can't do this.
Stephen, because remember the turning point was that game in Pittsburgh where even Tony Romo stood up the next Tuesday and said, I give up, I'm done, right? He conceded to Dak.
But he conceded, but the owner was still trying to overthrow the election.
But that's because the owner loved him like a son, loved Tony, and that he and Dak have never gotten close because, to Dak's credit, I think he stiff-armed him.
Yep.
And that's a good thing because Dak is clearly the leader of the locker room and the face of the franchise. But is he worth $40+ million? I'm not sure about that. That scares me because what if he can't live up to it?
But what if he... So in other words, give him $35 million, he taking his 2 Super Bowls, he's underpaid. Jerry gonna redo the deal? Hell no.
No.
Okay, then. So a contract's a contract.
Okay, are you sure he's going to... If you can guarantee me right now that he's going to take you to 2 Super Bowls, I'm good. You pay him $50.
Skip, there's no guarantees when it comes to...
Well, I know you well enough to know you do not think Dak Prescott is good enough to take this team to a Super Bowl.
Well, all I know is Pro Football Focus say they're the most talented team. Every year they got the top 5 offensive line. They got this much talent on defense.
Okay, well, you want to talk about decimation in the offensive line? You can have Kansas City because I'll give you Dallas.
Whoa.
Well, they just got wiped out across the whole front. The center retires. The left tackle is gone, and he may be gone for good. The right tackle was gone for the whole year. And then the right guard, who's the best right guard in football, he came and then he went.
Kind of like Kansas City, huh?
Not like it was better than Kansas City.
Yeah.
That line was better than Kansas City's line.
And y'all lost 4 starters, they lost 4 starters. But the only difference was they lost their 4 starters in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but we lost Pro Bowl starters.
Let me ask you a question. From what I'm hearing is that they're still far apart in negotiations.
Well, and again, Charles Robinson at Yahoo reported just the other day that of all the execs he talks to around the league, they give it zero chance, according to Charles Robinson on Yahoo, that Dak will be long-term in Dallas. Zero chance because they know Jerry. They just know the bridge got burned. Okay, so what's the exit strategy? Like I told you, you better have a backup plan. What's Jerry's backup plan? I'm going to say this one more time. I'm just going to throw this out.
Okay.
What did I say last March? What did I campaign for Jerry to do? I said, go sign Tom Brady. I told you that because it was on a silver platter. Would he be intrigued by America's team? I don't know. I have no idea. He probably picked a much better situation, given the injury factor for sure, in Tampa. But he only wanted $25 million and $25 million for 2 years. Well, a lot of people thought he was washed up, right? I did not. So I said, Jerry, if your bridge is burned with Dak Prescott, just let him go and give Tom Brady a shot for 2 or 3 years. I thought he had 3 years left, but 2 for sure. Could Tom Brady, if you don't have the injuries last year, was that team talented enough for Tom Brady to take it to Super Bowl? Maybe.
No, you know why? You know why they couldn't go? Because Jerry's going to meddle.
Okay, well, you could be right.
That's why
and maybe Tom Brady would be shrewd enough to say, I can't overcome that guy. I had enough trouble with my guy in New England. Maybe I can't rise above that guy. I can handle Bruce Arians finally. I can overcome him. But you're probably right. But I'm just saying, I'm looking for a way out. I'm looking for the way to turn the corner to this franchise quarterback, and I don't see it unless Jerry's got something plotted.
I see a franchise tag, and like I said, once they put the franchise tag on it for the first time,
one more shot, one more go.
You know how it was going to end, Skip.
And it's going to be bad blood all year. Right?
I don't know how you feel about that, Skip. Ooh, that's hard. It's a hard way to start.
No mercy.
Well, get this, guys. Carson Wentz could be on a new team by the weekend, according to some reports. Another report yesterday described it as a, quote, hour-by-hour situation. Philly is looking for a deal similar to what the Lions received from Matthew Stafford. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, the Bears are favorites to land Wentz, followed by the Colts. So, Shannon, how much would you trade for Carson Wentz now?
We're not getting a deal what the Rams gave up to get Matthew Stafford. Because the thing is, teams don't realize, okay, what version of Carson Wentz am I going to get, Skip? Is he too broken mentally, physically, emotionally? Skip, plus I know you're trying to get up off him. I'm not going to give you your asking price when I know you got to get him up out of there. You got to. As you said, is too poisonous. That situation is too poisonous for anything to grow with Carson Wentz. So I know you got to get up off him. Why would I give you a first-round pick? Give you a second-round pick. Now, Skip, it'll be a steal. You give him a second-round pick and you get a guy that can be repaired mentally, emotionally, physically.
Well, would it be a steal?
Yeah.
You sure?
If he's not damaged beyond repair. Skip, he's taken a lot of punishment over the last couple of years. Not only physically, but emotionally, because everybody say you suck, you terrible, you awful. And you probably the reason you've been holding the Eagles back. So can he overcome that? And maybe a change of scenery would do him good. Because I know the Eagles believe a change of scenery would do them good. But I'm not giving up no first-round pick. I'm not giving up no haul. Skip, the Rams gave up two first-rounders in what, a third or fourth? They're not getting that for Carson Wentz because I don't think anybody thinks Carson Wentz is comparable to talent-wise as Matthew Stafford. That's first and foremost. That's why they were able to get that. The Rams believe, like, man, look here. With this guy, we're going places. And we're willing to give up these draft picks because we believe where we're going to be drafting, Skip, it's going to be in the low 20s, maybe even 32 because we're going to be the Super Bowl champ. But, nah, Skip, I think teams are going to be very, very cautious because he's still got a big price tag. That's still, you got to pay him, what, you got 3 years left at $100+ million? So the Eagles are hoping someone get real desperate. We got to get a quarterback. Now they're going to stand pat and they're going to steal him right up him up under.
Okay, so I want to remind our faithful viewers out there that for 4 going on 5 years on the show, my man Shannon Sharpe has called this quarterback Walk It To Him Wentz.
Yeah,
right?
They better walk out the door.
I have changed that nickname to Give It To Him Wentz because he gives it to him a lot.
You gave it to him, live it, give it to him, limp it to him, bounce it to him.
I got all kinds of nicknames going for him to counter your nickname. Are you telling me you're ready to jump off the bandwagon? Are you telling me that he became damaged goods physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever damage is done, to the point that you're ready to say he's not that guy anymore?
We got to see where he goes. He's going to have to probably go somewhere. You look at it, and I see it. You understand Andy Skip. Frank Wright coached him when he would
have a shot. I would give you that shot with that guy,
and
that coach.
And that system, Matt Nagy runs in Chicago, is comparable. It's the West Coast system.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be somewhere where a system that he's familiar with, that he can just like go in. It's like, okay, I know the verbiage, I know the terminology, I know, first read, second read, check down. I get all that. So probably one of those situations, I believe Chicago, Indy would be the best that you can maximize what you're going to get out of Carson Wentz.
So the litmus test for Carson Wentz's value right now in, what are we into, his fifth year? Fifth year, will be that coach, Frank Reich, in Indianapolis, because he knows, and he's watched now from a distance, he knows Carson Wentz well enough, his psyche, and if he thinks it's damaged, then he will be the one who will say no to this deal. So you can sort of grade his value.
Year, right? Did he come
going into his
sixth year? Yeah, because he came in at 16 with that. Yeah, 20, okay.
Okay, going into his 6th year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to remind everybody that from the start, I don't love him. I don't love his feel for the game. And yet he's got big ability in that he's got stature. He's a big kid. He's a strong kid. He can stand strong in the pocket. He's got a little bit of Big Ben in him. He'll run through a brick wall for a first down, sometimes to a fault.
Yes.
And he has a big arm. And I think he has a big heart for football. He will try hard. He'll give you all he's got. I don't think he's a natural-born leader because I think he's a little more unto himself, and that rubs some people the wrong way over the years in the locker room, and it never was quite right with him and the rest of the team. So you have to factor that in. But there's just a feel for the game that obviously Brady has at the highest level. Brady's another flip side of this kid because it's touch, it's feel, it's poise, it's the ability to read it quickly and get the ball delivered accurately to that perfect spot.
But to your point about leadership skills, Skip, this guy came in knowing he's going to be the guy. Brady came in as a 6th-round draft pick, just hoping to blend in, hoping that I just make it through. So he had an opportunity to understand and, like, get to know people. When you come in and you the guy, he like, I ain't got to get to know you. I'm going to be here. You might not even be here tomorrow.
So I'm speaking strictly as a lifelong Cowboy fan. Carson Wentz has never scared me when my team has to play his Philadelphia team twice a year. He just doesn't scare me. So in the end, I think he reverted this year to who he really is. This year was closer because he had one burst in 2017, and it was a burst. And he was in the MVP conversation.
Yes, he would have won it had he not got hurt.
Probably. And he tore his knee up out here at the Coliseum late in that year, and Nick Foles, the rest is history. Okay. So he's barely played in one playoff game against Seattle and got hurt.
Got knocked out.
And so he's, whatever the stat is, like 1 of 3 for 4 yards. I think that's his playoff number so far. So you don't even know how he performs in the postseason. You have zero body of work to speak of. So what happened last year? Well, he got sacked 50 times, which led football. Is that his fault? Some of it is, some of it's not.
And even though he missed, last 3 games when he didn't start, he still got sacked the most
50 sacks. His 15 interceptions, despite not playing the last 3 games, led the NFL. His 19 turnovers led the NFL. He was 28th of 33 in QBR. Pro Football Focus, your favorite website, said he graded him the 34th best quarterback.
Damn, you got to get the backup to get the 34th.
And by the way, speaking of Pro Football Focus, they did a big breakdown yesterday on Carson Wentz, and their bottom line was, you better be careful because they think that 2017 was more of a blip than a trend. It was as they say, the outlier, and their conclusion is, in the bitter end, I'm just quoting them, anybody looking to acquire Wentz needs to appreciate that 2017 is not a realistic ceiling for him, and the player you're getting is likely to look a lot more like the one we saw during 2016, 2018, 2019 seasons. I agree. Buyer beware. So it's hard when Philly has made it clear, we got to get him up out of here, as you just said. And what are you going to get in return? Who's going to give you the sun and the moon for him? You don't need to. Unless there's somebody out there who says, you know what? I can win a Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. And that, whoever that would be, I don't think they exist, but they would give up a first for him. Because who wouldn't? If you believe heart and soul, that guy can win you a Super Bowl. But who believes that?
No way.
I think there was a time you believed it for a while.
Yeah, I just think the thing is, Skip, what he's been through, the damage, you hear the reports out of there about how the teammates, they were, taken back by some of by his mannerisms. I mean, they told you a lot. When they put a shrine up to the backup quarterback in the locker room that you got to walk by. How the hell you going to put a shrine up to the guy?
Chris Long did?
Chris Long. Had a shrine in his locker that the guy got to walk by every day and see the shrine.
That's tough,
and I'm the starter, but you got a shrine on the backup.
Really?
So I think that told you a lot about what they thought about him in the locker room.
In the end, it tells me so much that Philly is so done with him, they're willing to eat $34 million in dead cash. $34 million? You just got to flush it.
And guess what? And Dak said, see, y'all, I told you that the Rams did the same thing. They're eating $24, $30 million with golf. They're going to eat $34 million. So you'll eat that money. Dak said, well, Jerry, go on and give me that money. You'll go over the cap.
And Jerry's saying, what if you turn into Carson Wentz?
That's what you believe?
Well, I don't know. That's probably what Jerry's leaning toward believing. Fearing.
I call him Dink and Dak, and you say, deep throwing Dak. Dak.
Well, I told you all along, Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz, and I stand by that.
So let me ask you a question. If at the end of this year, they're neither in the original locations, how do we determine who's better?
Neither in their original?
Yes. So Dak will not be in Dallas. Wentz won't be in Philly.
I don't know. I guess we got to see where they wind up. See how advantageous their new
right now,
situation is.
They're tied at two division titles apiece.
But my guy, Dak, at least he won a playoff game.
He won a playoff game.
And he played well enough to beat Aaron Rodgers in a home
No,
playoff
he didn't play
game.
that well.
Yes, he did. And he played well enough to beat Jared Goff in a game out here at the Coliseum.
No.
Yes.
You got lucky and beat Russ.
That wasn't lucky. That was
Skip, y'all
outplayed him. He outplayed him.
Skip, y'all gave up 300 yards rushing.
Okay.
To CJ.
That's the next game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But Seattle came in #1 in rushing in the league, and we shut them down, held them under 100.
And Todd Gurley, y'all, C.J. Anderson, a bowling ball with legs.
Where is he now? I don't know.
He coaching at Cal, I think.
Oh, God. What happened?
Yeah.
Jenny went.
Yeah,
She
I know.
jinxed me. She
Do
jinxed
not put
me.
this on me.
Yeah, we gotta fly you out to some more games, Jenny.
The fact that Skip remembers that I went to that game and I'm just sitting over here, I hope he doesn't remember.
I think Fox said he need
I'll
more
never
sideline
forget.
reporters.
No, I know how
Yeah,
the
right.
team feels. It was not
Yeah,
my
sideline
fault,
that
Skip.
report.
Come on.
No mercy.
When I think about Black History Month, I think about people who are doing it now, leading the way. I think about the modern athlete, because I am an athlete. I think about LeBron James, Colin Kaepernick, Maya Moore, Kenny Stills, Anquan Bolden. I think about the Malcolm Jenkins of the world that's walking the halls of Congress to make things better for all people. I think that the modern athlete is redefining what it means to be athlete. The modern athlete is saying, look, we don't have to sit in a box anymore and just play ball. We don't have to shut up and dribble. The modern athlete is leading the second wave of the civil rights movement. I love Black History Month because it gives us the opportunity to highlight people who are doing it now and also pay homage to the people who paved the way before us.
The Texans president, Jamie Roots, has resigned after more than 20 years with the team. It's the latest for a team that says they won't trade Deshaun Watson, but according to all reports, the QB wants out of Houston. 9 NFL analysts were asked where Deshaun would play next season, and only one said Houston, while the Panthers and the Jets each got multiple votes. So, Shannon, how will this play out?
I still believe it was reaffirmed to me that Deshaun Watson wants out, and he's willing to do what it takes.
By the way, you've been ahead of this story from day one.
Yes. And as our people, you know, John McClain, and I know John, 45 years there, he said, the Texans don't want to trade him, but if they do, it's probably going to be to the Jets, which I've been saying all along. And I'm listening to Adam Schefter talk about this young man resigning because he was also he was helping the search firm locate a general manager.
You mean the president who resigned?
Yes.
He's not young anymore. He used to be when he got hired.
20 years.
I mean, he was the original exec. He was hired 2 years before they started.
Right.
Okay.
And he was a part, they're helping the search firm. And they keyed in on two guys. Said, okay, these are the two guys. And then Cal McNair usurped everything and is like, nah, we're going to go in a different direction. He said, well, then I'm out. Because now, and it reported that he stayed on because they didn't want to make it look like it was more dysfunctional than what it actually is. And now you see just how much dysfunction is going on. Another reason why Deshaun doesn't want to be there. You see the dysfunctionality that's actually going on at the top. How can you win long-term, short-term, or anything when you have this kind of chaos going on within an organization? The trust has been broken. Now, you're probably going to be able to get a Matthew Stafford type deal for Deshaun Watson.
I would hope so.
But I'm still saying Deshaun Watson will not play in Houston this season.
Okay. Let's step back from what is going to be the most fascinating, electrifying NFL offseason ever. Because we got quarterbacks moving all directions.
Yes.
We got Matthew Stafford did an interview today that I just read, and he's talking about how I'd lost sight of the fact that he did demand the trade. And he said that conversation I had with the new Detroit executives and with the ownership was the hardest conversation I ever had in my life. I had to say, I want out.
Right.
Well, he got out.
Right. And remember, Skip, when they said it was mutual. And I say normally that's the professional way of saying somebody wants out.
Okay.
We say we've agreed to mutually part ways.
Okay, so Jared Goff has moved, and it looks like Carson Wentz is on the precipice of moving any hour now.
Right.
And everywhere we look, Dak Prescott, is he going or staying? We're not sure. And
Russell Wilson put a little thing out there.
He did.
Aaron
so all of a
Rodgers.
sudden, it's open season. Everybody is saying, you know what, maybe. And it all emanates from that guy down in Tampa Bay because they saw him say, okay, I'll go choose them and watch what I pull off Super Bowl. So everybody's saying, man, maybe I should change.
And plus, what did he do, Skip? Not only did he get there, his first-year guy, he's like, hey, go get me Leonard Fournette. Okay. Go get me AB. Okay. Go get me Gronk. Okay.
Thank you.
He said, hold on. A guy just got there, and he got that kind of say, I've been here 10 years. I've been here 12 years. And y'all don't listen to the damn thing I say.
Okay. Which brings us back to Deshaun Watson.
Right.
A great young player.
He is.
He's proven a lot to me. Of the younger players, Brady's like in a universe by himself.
Right.
But he is the second best quarterback in football to Patrick Mahomes. On just what I've seen so far in their resumes, Deshaun can win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yes. So he is a prized possession that might be on the open market, but we're not sure about that.
Right.
Okay, so what just happened? James Roots just said, I can't take it anymore.
Right.
The longest term employee, and remember, there was the woman who ran their communications division who was looked at as the best PR executive in pro football.
Right.
She got fired because she was a little too friendly with the media, and I believe she was the only who was running a media, a communications
And I
division
think,
of a
Skip,
team.
either the equipment guy or the trainer got fired because they said he had a close relationship with Deshaun.
Okay, thank you very much. So now what do we know? The guy who's winning the power struggle is named Jack Easterby, and what did he used to be? For 6 years, he was the character coach. I don't know, maybe it was Colin Chaplin, but the character coach of Bill Belichick's Patriots.
Yes.
So he's a Belichick guy.
Yes.
Nick Caserio, who finally got hired despite what the search firm recommended, minority candidates, he was Belichick's right-hand man in New England.
Right.
Bill O'Brien, who's finally relieved of his duties of both coach and GM, was the offensive coordinator in New England. So somehow the McNair family is saying, give us the Patriot way, give us the Patriot way. No. The Patriot way is Tampa Bay. The Patriot way was Tom Brady. It's not Nick Caserio. It's not Jack Easterby. It's not Bill O'Brien. He was a product of Tom Brady. And the longer you try to go down that rabbit hole, the more lost you're going to get.
Well, I hope he's better because he's the offensive coordinator at Alabama now. So, he'll do some great things for Alabama.
Well, he might, because he's going to have more talent than anybody else has, right? Okay, so the one good thing that they did, this is just me, but again, he went to my school, played for my school, was David Culley, African-American, they hired him. And he was Eric Bieniemy before Eric Bieniemy because he was, for years, Andy Reid's right-hand man. He was the assistant head coach to Andy Reid. By all accounts, he's an NFL lifer. He's a solid citizen. He's a good guy. He relates well to players. He has a little bit of a connection from last year's Pro Bowl to Deshaun. They did okay together. Like you say, it's just a Pro Bowl week, so you can't really take it to the bank. But that was a good move to me, and it surprised me. But now we've got an organization who keeps publicly saying, we're sorry, we're just not going to trade him. So this is the one situation that so far the ownership is not caving to the quarterback who wants out. And he wants out worse than anybody else has wanted out, to me. Like there's no doubt about this one. This is the one where he says, I can't take it anymore. I will hold out. I assume that's what you're hearing, right? How long will he hold out? Would he hold out the year? Would they stay entrenched for a year just to prove their point and say, okay, we'll just play somebody else?
Remember what Carson Wentz did? Carson Wentz says, I'm not playing in Cincinnati anymore. Now you decide what you're going to do. I'm not playing. And they ended up Carson Palmer. And you remember what he did, Skip? They ended up trading him to the Raiders. I mean, take the stance, whatever that stance is. He wants to get out. Says, okay, well, y'all go play. Y'all do what y'all need to do. Eventually, they'll trade him.
Okay. Is it possible he's going to have to sit on ice for a year? Just out of spite? Just because the blood's getting so bad between those parties?
Because, I'm sure Calvin there has some of his dad. He's not going to let the prisoners run the...
That was the classic... how was it? The prisoners run the...
I can't have the inmates running the prison.
They're running the prison. There you go.
It's the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Well, that was the classic. It was uttered inside closed doors to the other owners, but it got out.
And it got out, and that's one reason why Dwayne Brown is in Seattle blocking for Russell Wilson instead of, because he took offense to it.
He said no. Okay. So to me, it's going to be very interesting if this is the classic cut your nose off to spite your face. The McNair family would have history just to say, okay, we're just going to make you sit for a year, right?
Yeah, but I got $156 million of your dollars. I'll sit it.
Well, he does.
I got it.
And they have him. They can control his rights. How many? Let's see.
They gave him 4 years.
They gave him 4 more, but by
years.
tag you could go 6 years, right?
Well, Skip, they gave him, so they got the 5th-year option, and they got 4 more years. And then you got 2 years of tag. So theoretically, they could hold on to him until he's 33.
Okay. I'm not going to be surprised if this turns into the saddest story in pro football where they just ice him for a year. They just say, okay, go home, sit, watch. We'll pay you, but we will not play you. Okay?
Oh, I hope that's not the case. But yeah, you mentioned this, Skip. Shannon, you have been all over this from the very beginning, so we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out.
No mercy.
So the Super Bowl 55 win has given the Buccaneers all the confidence in the world. During their victory parade, nearly every member of the team said they would repeat as champs. Even the guys at the top couldn't help themselves, with general manager Jason Light saying, quote, "We're going to bleep and win this thing again." Bruce Arians also said they'll keep the team together and they're going for 2. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is with us now. Orlando, this was quite the celebration. In your opinion, will the Bucs be able to back up the bravado next season?
I don't know. The repeat is nice. I mean, that's what you're supposed to say. They high off the Super Bowl. You see they throwing the trophy from boat to boat. Tom had a lot of tequila, but I mean, they know that this window is short. They know Tom is getting up there in age, and he's probably got 2 or 3 more years, maybe 1 or 2 at this high level. And it'll be interesting to see how many guys will sacrifice their financial well-being to try and win another Super Bowl. And, the Chiefs were a team that was much younger, and it was very, very difficult for them to repeat. And, it looked for 95% of the season that they were just going to walk to another Super Bowl. And, when you talk about repeating, I don't know another team, a team that has repeated and went back-to-back in a good long time.
Go ahead, Skip. Go ahead.
Orlando Scandrick.
Yes.
As you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I was around pre-you in Dallas, those dynasty teams of the 90s, led by Michael Irvin, who was the biggest, boldest talker I ever was around. Those Cowboy teams broke through a year early in 92 and won a Super Bowl, and then they crushed their way to a Super Bowl in 93. Not one peep came out of them like the big peeps that came out of these guys yesterday. I have never in my career heard anything like this bravado, because it starts with, as Jenny mentioned, the general manager is just flat out saying, we're going to effing win this thing again. And then the coach just loses his mind, as he is wont to do. He'd had a couple of sips of champagne. We get it. But the coach, Bruce Arians, is saying, anybody that says run it back, and he's making fun of Kansas City, that was Kansas City's bull, you know what. We're just going for 2. We're going for 2, and we ain't stopping. We're going to keep this band together, and they know how to win. Well, to your point, to Shannon's point, money talks in the end. So can you keep all of them together? Will they sacrifice? Mike Evans has already said he would take a pay cut. I will bet you Brady will restructure. But then will Shaq Barrett sacrifice? Will Chris Godwin's? I don't know. Probably not. But the point is, as I watched it unfold yesterday, it didn't come across like false bravado. I watched player after player guaranteeing, they're flat out guaranteeing they're going to win it again. And yet, did it come across like sort of false tough guy talk, like fake tough guy? No, it didn't. It rang true. All day long it rang true, because they know they got the GOAT. And the GOAT is playing better than ever at 43, going on 44. And by the way, I'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Scandrick. You saw the light in the end. You did pick the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. Congratulations to you. But in the end, This team, as the coach concluded, we physically kicked their ass, meaning Kansas City, and they did. They just whipped them on both sides of the ball. They were just a little nastier, a little tougher. They tackled harder. They blocked harder. They ran harder. And Brady was Brady, and that's history. And would I doubt them? Tom Brady said last week, we will be better next year, and that's just because of familiarity and continuity. Will they be quite the same team? I think they'll be pretty close enough that I will be picking them to win next year.
I might be wrong, but I thought Kansas City was better this year than they were last year, especially offensively. But when you lose four offensive linemen, go ahead.
There was something that was, when you talk about they lost their offensive lineman, but that really wasn't what it was to me. I mean, that was one of the big things, but they had no running game. Clyde Hilaire-Ayers. Clyde, whatever. Yeah, there you go. I'm getting tongue twisted.
Edwards-Hilaire.
He was great. It was a change of pace back, and they really missed Damian Williams this year. They really, really missed Damian Williams.
And he held out for COVID, opted out.
But that was the thing.
They didn't get
You're right.
the same production. They didn't get the same production out of Sammy Watkins. And we all said it up here. We said those four up front that Mahomes was going to be running for his life. And Mahomes was running for his life all night. And, you know, the Bucs should just take their win in stride. And, you know, they say about being better this year. And I think they got better towards the end of the year. And they kind of peaked at the right time, and they caught fire. That defense caught fire. You know, after the bye week, they're 8-0. And they're on the top of the pinnacle, and you can't really take it from them. But to say, like, what you're going to do next year after having seen an offseason, after having seen what teams come together and, you know, how things unfold is just, it's BS to me.
So you think that was a mistake yesterday? They will pay for that.
I think those are unrealistic expectations. But, I mean, everybody's expectations right now is, you know, to be a Super Bowl champion. But until you dethrone the Tampa Bay Bucs, they are the champion. Like you said with the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, they kind of went about their business. They were hard workers. From what I knew about the team and the type of training camps and the type of practices they went through, they talked on the field. And, you know, these guys seem like they want to talk their way to another championship via ESPN, via Fox, via Undisputed, you know, whatever it is.
Okay, so the question becomes, can they back these words up next year? Are they good enough? Were they just a fluke to you, or can they rise and be better next year and back this up with a big target on their backs?
It's going to be to be determined. Can you keep Godwin? What do you do with Levante David?
Shaq Barrett.
You know, how's, you know, your corners, like what happens? You know, I think they do get better, and, you know, injuries is always a part of this thing.
And that's what I've said. It's easy for guys that's made a lot of money, says I'm willing to sacrifice. So you know this. Excuse me. Guys that have made a lot of money. Mike Evans was a first-round draft pick, signed a big contract. Chris Godwin has not had that luxury.
He was a second-round.
Yeah, he was a second-round pick. He hadn't got that big payday that Mike Evans. Mike Evans at one point was the highest-paid receiver in football. Shaq Barrett was an undrafted free agent. He hasn't gotten that free agent. Now, Ndamukong Suh might come. I think Ndamukong Suh signed a one-year deal. He might be willing to come back. Probably $10 million is what's going to cost you. I don't see him playing because he's a mercenary. He's going to the. What I said about Ndamukong Suh, he's going to the highest bidder, Skip.
Okay.
Because you remember he was at the Rams.
He was.
And then Tampa said, we got a little bit more money. I'm going to Tampa. And so I believe that's something that's palatable to him. Fournette probably will come back because the market for the running back is not what it is for like a wide receiver, Skip. Running backs ain't making no money. I mean, Derrick Henry led the league in rushing, and he didn't get what McCaffrey got, and he signed after McCaffrey. So the running back market, AB is going to be back, because I don't believe AB can go anywhere else but Tampa. Rob Gronkowski has made it abundantly clear he doesn't want to play with anybody else but Tom Brady in Tampa. So I believe those two guys will definitely be back. Shaq Barrett, Chris Godwin, Levante David. I think Shaq Barrett most likely to be gone. I believe he's out the door. Chris Godwin, I believe he's out the door. Levante David, okay. This is his last big payday. I believe somebody's going to throw probably 12, 13, $14 million his way, What you think?
I think so. You're right. He's solid as a rock. You know, it sounds good, and I think, you know, they've invested into Scotty Miller. Tom likes Scotty Miller, and I can foresee them saying, okay, we can go with Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and Scotty Miller. And, you know, do you get the same production as you got out of Chris Godwin? Chris Godwin was a big physical inside slot receiver, and, you know, he was able to work the middle of the field, and he became Tom friendly.
Don't underestimate that kid, Tyler Johnson. He made a huge catch at New Orleans on a big third down when they were backed up in their own territory. They are deep at receiver. They're not as top-heavy as Kansas City. They don't have Tyreek. They do not have a Kelsey. But they have 4 tight ends who are all pretty to very good, and Gronk will rise and shine at the biggest moment.
And you remember, Skip, it was in the playoffs that Chris Godwin made some tough catches. That throw down the middle that Tom against cover 1 that Tom had no business throwing. Even after he had dropped the play before, Skip, and he comes back and catches a 40-plus yarder.
Okay, but they just won the Super Bowl with Chris Godwin catching 2 balls for 9 yards.
But the thing what he provides, Skip, is that he's that big physical receiver that if you got one-on-one, I thought the approach, tell me what you think. I thought Spagnuolo's approach was wrong because I think he thought that they're going to think we're going to get pressure on him, so coverage. Well, if you let Tom Brady stay on his mark, if you don't reroute them receivers and you let him have his first read, you're not beating Tom Brady.
Okay, but he was prepared for pressure because he got rid of the ball faster than he has in any game all year.
And think about that, Skip. He wasn't even getting pressure and was getting rid of the ball, which tells me they did a terrible job of rerouting or taking the guys away. You look at the flip side. What did they do? They played cover 2. They got their hands on the ball, got their hands on the receiver, says, we will take away first read. That'll make you hold it just a step. Shaq, JPP, Vita Vea, Sue, go eat.
They ate.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I think what Tom did is I think Tom went and watched those 2 Super Bowls that he lost to Spagnuolo. And I tell you one thing, he dissected it, and he was one step ahead. He did whatever he wanted to do, whether ran it, whether passed it. He was comfortable. And I think, the Chiefs got a little cocky. The Chiefs fell into something that I talked about on the show. They're like, okay, we can fall down because we got my homeboy. Yep. We can fall down because we got that offense. Well, when you got a guy across from you that's a trained killer himself, you can't ever fall behind.
He is, but he's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Like you seen like you seen when you watched the NFL clips. You heard Kelsey telling him, "I had a feeling you figure this thing out."
That's what he said.
Yeah.
So, Orlando, what's happening here on this show right now is Shannon Sharpe is now openly rooting for Shaq Barrett to leave, Chris Godwin to leave, Sue to leave, so he doesn't have to hear about Tom Brady all next year.
I don't think he's openly rooting. I think what he is as an ex-player, as a Hall of Famer, this window is so small, and Shaq Barrett had to play behind some guys when he won his first Super Bowl.
Yes.
And then he kind of front lines the second Super Bowl, and if they're not going to open the wallet and, pay him upwards to $23-24 million a year. I mean,
and I believe these guys really had fun playing together, and they will take some discount to stay together. Yes.
I'll take a discount, 22.5.
Repeat, we know
exactly.
how hard and how long it's been. Tom, obviously the last guy to do it in 03-04.
No mercy.
New tracks, new teams, and a new champ. The 2021 NASCAR season starts in just 3 days now with the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Sunday, only on Fox. I will be tuning in for that. Looking forward to it. But time may be running out for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott to get a deal done. The two sides have not gotten close, and the Cowboys could attempt to franchise tag the QB for a second season in a row. Cowboys Hall of Famer and our guy, Troy Aikman, doesn't believe this would be the best course of action, saying, quote, I'd be really surprised if he's playing under the franchise tag again this year. My guess is if he is, that will be the last we see of Dak Prescott. Orlando Scandrick is still with us. Orlando, a messy situation here. In your opinion, do you think they will get a deal done soon?
I'm so lost on what they're doing here. What more does the kid have to show you? You go, both the Joneses, they go in the media and they say how he's our guy, he's our franchise, he's our future. And then we get to it, and they're absolutely going to tag him again because they're going to need to give themselves some chance to work out a deal. Do they work out a deal? At this point, I'm hopeful. I'm not optimistic because the numbers, the salary cap's going to come in a little higher than they thought. They thought it was going to be 175, what they agreed on during the crisis. It's going to come in at about 185. And I think 40 million is the starting number. And if it's 40 million with 4 years or it's 40 million with 5 years.
My thing is, you had the whole offseason. What the hell you was doing? When Dak wasn't playing, you should have been crunching the numbers. Either we're bringing him back or we're not. Okay, we're behind the scenes. Obviously, we can't do a deal right now, Skip, during the season because we're under franchise tag. But you can be talking. You can be like, okay, guys, come on now. Let's be realistic. Let's just say for the sake of argument, the cap's going to be 175. What do you think about these numbers? Let's just say for the sake of argument, the cap's going to be 185, 190. What do you think about these numbers? Skip, you could have been sitting down trying to get to something. You don't wait until, okay, the window is open for us to actually be negotiating. You can be doing this behind the scenes. I don't know what else Dak needs to do. So because he can't do whatever you want Dak to do, he can't do it between now and the time he put pen to paper. So that's not going to happen. Well, Dak needs to win a Super Bowl. Well, he can't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 months. That's not going to happen. So you're going to have to base it on the medical staff is going to have to say, hey, Jerry, the ankle is A+. No,
it's required 2 surgeries now. Go ahead.
Which is not abnormal, which is very normal. It's going to be everything is going to be perfect. He's going to be fine. Medical is going to be a big part here, Skip. But I just don't know. I disagree with Troy because I just don't see. They've had 3 years to get something done. And here we are at the end of 3 years talking about, well, this is going to be the year we get it done. I just don't see it happening. I see franchise tag again. Dak going to be sitting on swole again because he still doesn't have the long-term deal that he sought. And so that's going to be a problem. And I got a strong feeling that Dak Prescott is not going to finish his career as a Dallas Cowboy.
Most people around the league agree with that premise. Back to you, Mr. Scandrick. You know Dak Prescott fairly well. You like him a lot. Born leader, face of franchise. A year ago, would you have given him what they were demanding? Would you have gone up above what Deshaun Watson ended up getting? Would you have gone into the low 40s a year for Dak Prescott for 4 years as opposed to the 5 that Jerry always wants to tie his quarterback up for? Would you have done that a year ago?
No, but I think that the offer that was made was about 37, 38.
36.
They said well, it keeps going up since he didn't sign because they said it was right at Goff and Wentz, which was about 33.5, 34.
So I don't know if I would have went into the mid 40s or the low 40s for 4 years, but for 5 years. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to pin it on him. And you keep hearing all these people say, well, you play for the Dallas Cowboys, you get all these endorsements. You get this, you get that. Well, think about this. If these people are able to pay him much more because he pays for the Dallas Cowboys, how much more are they paying the Dallas Cowboys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you mean?
Put that in perspective. If you can pay me more because I'm a Dallas Cowboy, how much more are you making? So I think that when you bottom line it, Skip, they need to decide, do they want Dakota, Ray, and Prescott to be a part of their franchise or not? And if you don't, you franchise tag them, you see if you can keep them for another year, and you're going to see them walk out the door. But I think it was a huge mistake here. You went and you handed $50 million guaranteed to Ezekiel Elliott. And, to Dak, as a guy who didn't get that big payday, these guys were very, very close friends. And you went and you paid everybody on that offensive line. But when it came time to pay your quarterback, it was all these excuses. Well, we don't know if he can do this. We don't know if he can do that. And now you put yourself in a rock and a hard spot where you're going to be possibly committing 20% of your salary cap, 22% of your salary cap to one player.
Okay. Do you think that Jerry Jones panicked and overpaid Ezekiel Elliott?
I think that Mr. Jones is getting up there in age, and he's making a lot of these decisions based off of information that he's getting. And they thought Zeke was a generational type talent. And, I thought for the sake of, they thought they were a running team with a play action quarterback that gets out the pocket. He's got a decent arm and he's serviceable. But when you really looked at it and you missed him this year, you said, okay, this guy is the real deal. His ceiling is maybe higher than Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay. So what do you think Jerry Jones is thinking right now when he sees the Eagles are willing to eat $34 million in dead cap money to get rid of Carson Wentz, same draft as Dak, obviously, and the Rams got rid of Jared Goff and ate $22 million in dead cap money to get him out from under. So what do you think that's empowering Jerry to think right now?
I mean, they're obviously thinking that they got their numbers. When they got their numbers in their head, they're stuck with their numbers. But they got a pretty good pick. I'm sure they're exploring all options, seeing who picks who, what they can do trade-wise. But they're in a hard, tough spot. The Dallas Cowboys line is aging.
Yes.
They're loaded with skill players.
Yep.
They're going to lose one of their better skill players. Their running back is kind of on the downturn. I don't think Zeke's ever going to get back to the Zeke that we've seen.
Agreed.
He's gained weight. He's got a lot of miles on him. And they need playmakers on the defensive side. So Jerry's going to move to Jerry's own tune his own accord. And, you know, we can sit up here until we blue in the face and tell you what we should think. And, you know, even you were saying, you said, we talked years ago, you said, I don't know if he's worth it. But now, what do you think? What do you think? Put yourself, let's just say you're Mr. Jones. What would you be thinking?
Skip said...
I wouldn't have burned the bridge. I think there's bad blood because the negotiations went south and sour. And once you get on Jerry's bad side, he doesn't care about winning anymore. It's about his pride. That's what got involved here.
But, the difference is between all these other guys, what David Muguleta was able to negotiate for Deshaun and what the agents were able to negotiate for Goff and Wentz, is that they had 2 years remaining, and they got this. Dak had no years remaining. How are you... So they got 2 years. So you expect me to take exact money as them with 2 years left on their deal as the same as them when I got no years left? I wish I might.
No way.
All right, Orlando, it's been great getting your thoughts all season. It sure has been
Way to go.
a fun one for all of us.
No mercy.
Responding to a video of Tom Brady celebrating his latest Super Bowl win, LeBron showed a little understandable jealousy. LeBron tweeted, quote, "Man, oh man, I wish we were able to have our parade too, because I would have been walking beautifully just like you." Shannon, do you like what LeBron tweeted? I know you wanted a parade as well.
Skip, I don't know if LeBron would have let himself go quite that far.
No.
Now, he might have had like 1 or 2 glasses of wine, Skip, but I don't know if he allows himself to go that far. But the parade is a big part of it, Skip. I was very fortunate enough to have 3 parades. I only went to 2. I only went to 1, the first one. The second, the one in Baltimore, it was raining, it was cold. I was like, nah, I can't do that. I don't want to get sick. And the other one, I was like, I've already seen 700,000 people. I'm good. But Skip, you want to be amongst the fans. You want the appreciation that you get from that crowd and see all that orange. I've never seen that many people at one particular place at one particular time, all in the parking garages, all lined the street. So I understand what LeBron is talking about.
I don't understand why LeBron continues to try to insinuate himself into Brady's greatness. He is trying to glom on to Brady's achievement and make it like it's one goat talking to another goat. Ha, ha, ha.
It is.
It's one phony goat talking to the all-time goat.
Skip, the man said he wished he could have had a parade because he'd have been walking like one.
He tried to upstage one of the all-time brilliant, clever tweets. Did you see Brady's drunk Brady tweet?
Yeah, what he said.
He worked in with the capital letters and the typos and all. Okay, look, he's making fun of himself, which was perfectly done.
Yeah.
And LeBron should just leave this be because he doesn't belong in this conversation.
Well, I don't believe LeBron would have been shooting the Larry O'Brien trophy or anything like that, Skip. I don't think he'd have been passing it behind his back or something like that. But he probably, like I said, he'd have had a glass or 2 of wine. I'd have been right there with him. I'd have been right there with him, too. I'd have been chugging.
Okay, well, maybe this season we can have a really special parade. And Shannon will be leading the way. Tom, rest up today. Thank you for showing us you are human. We're back tomorrow for more Undisputed. Have a great day, guys.